Are you all ready for one heck of a completed pages? Kia ora everybody, welcome or welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy. I am a colourist based in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and I really like adult colouring. And this is, without a doubt, the colouring community's favourite video of the month, completed pages. It's going to be a doozy of a video. I'm kind of not looking forward to filming all this, but it's also going to be a journey. Every month there is a type of video that comes out, completed pages, which is what you're watching now, where the colouring community basically puts out a video showing what they might have completed in the month. So, of course, for me, in August 2025, I'm going to show you everything I coloured in August 2025. Yeah, this is going to be a while. Now, I didn't even colour the full month here. I want you to keep that in mind as I go through a couple of stats before we begin. I didn't colour the full month. Towards the last week or so, I really slowed down in terms of colouring. There were I think there's almost like a week where I didn't colour. Yeah, like I have some from the 20th and then I don't pick it up again until the 25th. So there was like a 5-day period where I didn't colour. And right at the end of the month, I definitely slowed down. At the start of the month, some days I was doing 8 or 9 pages a day. Like, I was doing a lot of colouring. A lot of colouring. I coloured in a lot of unworked books. I finished off some very old whips. I completed my first ever colouring book in this month. And in the month of August 2025, I coloured 101 pages. Yeah, it was a lot. So yeah, this video is going to take a while to film. So make sure you have a drink, a snack, you're nice and cozy, because yeah, this is going to take a while. So, ignoring my terrible writing, because my journal is just how I record stuff down, so I don't aim to make it pretty. I aim to make it functional in a place I actually use. As you can see, pages finished off 101 pages, 9 of which were doubles, which was pretty cool. I also managed to finish off 8 work in progress pages. There is one new one, so that brought my work in progress total down from 13 to 6 whips in my total collection. And the cool thing about this was I also finished off my oldest whip, which was from 2022. So that is a huge win. And of course, getting this back down to single figures, which is one of the things I like to do. I like to keep my whips in single figures. I did indeed receive or buy 19 new books. So my collection is now officially over 400 colouring books at 406. But I did work in 61 new books, which isn't a goal per se this year, but I did end up working in a lot of new books because I've received so many new books over the last few months that I just kind of wanted to work in a lot of the new books this month, which has brought my worked pile to 346 books with 60 unworked books in my collection, which brings it down to 14.8%. And the previous month, it was sitting at almost 27%. So that's a good chunk down again. It's not necessarily a goal, but, you know, it's good to get a lot of your shelf touched and back down to 60 books unworked. I mean, what I achieved this month, technically I could knock them all out this month. I probably won't, but you know. And then some cool things, as I said, I finished off my oldest ever whip and knocked that one out, so that was very cool. I completed my first ever colouring book, which is just like huge. Like, that was not a necessary goal of like, I want to complete a colouring book this year, but it's been on the back of my mind of I have several books that are very close to completion, And if I get in the mood one month, maybe it'll happen. And it happened, and I'm pretty stoked. So I'm very excited to show you that. And then the other cool thing is I also use a spreadsheet to track my collection, what I have worked in, what I haven't worked in. And that collection also has like a fun little box on the side that works out my monthly averages for how many pages I've coloured, and with how many pages are in my collection of all my colouring books, how many years worth of colouring I have, because I'm a nerd of Excel sheets who likes these kind of figures. So my pages per month, because I did 101 pages this month, previously it was around 38.5 pages per month average I was doing, which was already elevated from last month and doing so many bookmarks. It's jumped up to 46.3 pages per month, which has brought my years worth of colouring my collection from 42.5 years down to 35.5 years. So, you know, I feel like that's pretty good. It's not exactly 100% accurate, but I thought that was a fun little fact. And then another little visual for how much I've coloured this month is I have my box of bookmarks. And if you know my completed pages from last month, I did about 30 or 40 bookmarks. I did a lot of bookmarks last month. This container was full. I have 7 bookmarks that have not currently been used in my collection. And I think there are a couple of pages where I have not, sorry, that was my hair molting in the container. I think there's a couple of pages where I haven't put a bookmark in. So yeah, I have done a lot. This is going to take a while. I find stats interesting, so I just thought I'd knock those out of the way first to begin with, and then we can get into it. Now, this won't be in any particular order. I don't know. I'm going to do my best to try and remember, because God knows me, anything is in this book. I don't even genuinely remember what I coloured at the start of the month, because I was colouring so much. I had a lot of pain this month, a lot of stuff that I was dealing with. I was not sleeping. I would literally just sit and colour for 10, 12, 15. One day I coloured for nearly 24 hours straight, because of stuff that I was dealing with. So this is how we've ended up with so much stuff. Anyway, let's get into it. We will start with the one whip that I have to begin with, because yeah, might as well get this one knocked out. I knew starting this one, this was going to be a whip that was going to be rolling over, but it's something that I've been wanting to colour for a while, and that is getting back to Alien Worlds by Kirby Roseanne's. I was feeling like colouring a Kirby, and I love Alien Worlds. I'm also a part of the Alien Worlds Data Explorers group, where this book is being tackled as a freeware space explorers, and we've been working front to back. Now, I came into the group having already done a bunch of one planet towards the back anyway, one of my whips, but I decided to start from the start. So I have completed the Lost Paradise, the Air Kingdom, which I'd already done before I joined the group as well. I did that on a hospital stay. And then the Water Kingdom was finished, I want to say May. It's been a while since I've picked up this book, and it's been sitting there because the next kingdom is the Futuristic Kingdom. And I've had a plan for this kingdom for a long time. I just didn't know if I could pull it off. And the idea that I have, because I keep my planets consistent, is to do cyberpunk, neon, techno, like really try and pull off this neon glow effect. And I was like, I don't know, you know, do I buy neon paints? Do I buy UV paint, which I'm still contemplating buying to add to these pages? Do I use like water-based markers and highlighters to get like really bright neons or stuff like this? In the end, I decided just to go for Prismacolors, because I knew there was a couple of fluoros and I was fairly confident that I could pull it off. So I finally settled on it and started creating the first page. So I've started with this one. While I'm trying to work my planets in order, I don't work within each planet in order. I often start with a smaller single one before I do a big overarching planet one. So yeah, I've started with this one. This one I also felt like I could use this as a really good specific point of reference, because we've got that sort of fading to a point like this one has. We have an object floating above and an object in the foreground. So I felt like there's a lot of points on this that I could replicate using this. So this is where I decided to start. As I said, it is all Prismacolor. Been asked before about the blue combo, so that's the blue combo. There is all the background, and then I've just pulled out a bunch of purples, which I'm working on with the blues to do the buildings, and then the fluoro pink and the fluoro orange is also on the buildings as well for the neon effects. So yeah, I like how it's progressing. I just need to get in and do some more work on it, but I'm really excited to get that done, and then hopefully do some more in the future planet and finish off the future planet. I also already have my plan in place for the next kingdom as well, which is this rock kingdom. So I would really like to start smashing through a few of these again, because it's been a while since I've done a few in Alien Worlds, and I want to get back to it. So enjoy this book. But yeah, that's my first whip, my only whip this month. Just finding where to put it on there. Out of the way now. And then there should be room on the floor to hopefully dump the rest of these. I might have to stop and start, put some of them away mid filming. Anyway, we'll just begin. So it appears that I have a bunch of tiny books. So we'll start with the tiny books. These are on top. And then we'll just do whatever comes up. So I have Tiny Tales Volume 1 by RJ Hampson. I also have Tiny Tales Volume 2 by RJ Hampson. Super, super cute little pocket books. And so I just did a simple page in each of these. Now, this is something that you're going to see a lot this month. And that is me using a watercolor in the background of some sort and then coloring on top. So in this case, this is Gansai Tambi. I was gifted set 2. However, I feel like set 2 just doesn't granulate like set 1's does. So I was playing a lot with set 2 to try and force it to granulate. I also was adding in a little bit of shimmer watercolor into the background as well. But it's just a real quick way to fill out a background. So just playing around with that and then coming in and coloring on top. So this one uses some Pablos and a little bit of super golden markers just to color in the page. Very simple, but fun for practicing with the Gansai Tambi. And again, a lot of my coloring this month was really just focused on mental wellness. So I just wanted to color. A lot of it was just about the process. It wasn't even necessarily how things ended up looking. I just needed to color to keep my brain happy. So same idea here with this page. Once again, we've got Gansai Tambi in the background, granulating watercolor, and then Pablos and super golden markers. Looks like there's a little bit of white gel pen on this one too. You got a little bit of granulation here. Yeah. Again, very simple. Did the job. It's going to be a real thing this month, so there's a lot of it. So we have the Magic Jars mini coloring book by Coloring Book Cafe. I know this one had like a big trend a while ago of people coloring in it. And I did this one here. Again, pretty simple. A little bit of, I didn't even base. I just used pencils to color this. And I believe I used my Color pencils because I moved them into their own case. So that was laying in bed. So I believe I just used the Color pencils on this one. And then super golden markers. Again, I used them a lot this month. And then I used the Mod Podge Sparkle over where the glass would have been. So it's a bit shiny, a bit glittery. Could have been like really effective to do the watercolor background here. Just to create something a bit around it. But I was happy with it. Is that... might be something I do in the future for another jar, because there's plenty of jars to colour in here. That's that one. And then we have Portrait of the Mermaid. This is by Sarah Berrier. This is absolutely gorgeous. I love this book. So I have this one here. And so for this one, I used water-based markers as watercolor. And then I also mixed in some different iridescent purples into the background. I was originally trying to follow the pattern a little bit, and then I just left it. I see now that I forgot to do a leaf on the side, like I did that, so I will fix that up quickly post-recording. But these leaves were meant to be done like that, and I obviously forgot to do that. So that was super golden markers, and then there's a little bit of this is actually stickles because it's quite flat on there, a little bit of stickles. So yeah, and then a little bit of pencil shading as well. It's fairly simple, and I just kept it one color, just focusing on the purples with the little touches of gold. It's going to annoy me till I fix it up now. Let me find my super golden markers. Okay. Much better. Is it a completed pages if I'm not adding in a Posca highlight that I forgot somewhere? Or in this case, a super golden marker. My bad. But yeah. I really do like how this one turned out, and it was a lot of fun playing around with the different water-based markers to see if I could get in like a little bit of shading and texture, and yeah, I really like Sarah Berrier's style, so that was really cool to get done. Right, you should dry relatively quickly. Let's move you off to the side, and then we'll start on the next one. So again, these will just be absolutely random order, just as they come out. So Dark Fairies. Now I believe this one, did I have a whip that I finished, or was that last month? Was it just the one? Oh, that was last month that we did the whip. Okay. Yeah, it was last month that we did that one. Okay, so this month's page is Gothic Rose. So there is a delightful group on Facebook for this colouring book. I don't think I would have coloured as much in this book if it wasn't for the group, but I really enjoy it every time we do colour in it. So yeah, again, really grateful to the group, because I don't think I would have coloured as much in here if I didn't join the group. But once again, we have Ganzai Tambi. Like, it was definitely a theme this month. And then I use water-based markers to colour in the different areas and some pencils to shade on top. I did use some super golden markers again to do some details on her dress and her, and then her wings, which I also covered in Mod Podge Extreme Glitter. There's a little bit of like a black glitter pen in her hair too. I wanted her sparkly, but I still wanted her quite gothic and dark, because it does say, you know, she is the Gothic Rose, sharp form of a delicate flower. So I wanted to kind of have that light delicateness, but also dark, which is why I did end up giving her pale skin and pale dress. So she's almost like ghost-like, but then that really dark hair and the dark purple flowers. I just thought it would really all tie together lovely. And I do really like how it turned out, especially with the background. The only thing it's missing is I do really need to frame it up better. But I don't often come in and do frames on these books. Like, if when I eventually finish this book, I may come in here and actually frame it up, because they do look better when they are properly like filled in instead of messy edge. But yeah, we do have a page chosen in here this month. I believe it's actually this one. I'll have to check the Instagram group. I don't even know where my phone is. Okay, no, phone's not letting me in. It's okay. I think it's that one. But I'll have to see. Maybe if it is, I might have to do it twice, because it's also a cover image. Yeah, maybe. Oh, that might be a good one to do too for Space Timber. Yeah, I feel like it's Moonlit Maiden, but I could be wrong on that. I will find out. But yeah, there's another page in that one for September that is on the plans. Now that I've released a plans video for the month, because yeah, a lot of the month of August, the plan, like, there was a little bit of a plan, but I didn't really stick to it. Instead, I kind of just went off what I felt, and it worked. And so I'm just going to stick with that for the month of September. Like, I'd like to do a Space Timber thing. If I finish that Alien Worlds page, it counts. I'd like to do a few different things. I'm just going to go with the vibes. Right, Cats Around the World by Eva Carrier. This one has like a really interesting style. It's very loose and sketchy and like ink filled. So I knew I wanted to play around with like watercolory effects. And so I once again was like, cool, let's pull out the Gansai Tambi and try that one out as a background. See how watercolor works on the page. Yeah, this page went very green, but you can see the purple here. So one color stayed on top, one part color sunk through, which is a bit of a shame, but so we didn't quite get the granulation effect. I'm not 100% sure why I chose green, but I did. I then added in a bit of green iridescence to it as well and splattered it around because again these have like really inky sketchy lines, so I felt like being quite messy here was the call, and I am glad I did because I actually really like how this one turned out and I'm looking forward to getting more done in this book. I then used water-based markers as watercolor, so colored on a piece of plastic, picked it up and brushed it on and used it like a watercolor because again that sketchy water inky feel just felt right. I used a little bit of a white gel pen just to do some like highlights on the turtle eggs and just to highlight like kitty eyes where there were kitty eyes. So yeah, quite simple, but I actually really like how it came together, and I think that's going to be the approach in the book, is going quite watercolory, going quite loose and messy, because again it just has such sketchy inky lines. So yeah, I think that'll be the approach for going in this book. So that's Cats Around the World by Eva Carrier. I have 50 monster themed miniatures. Now I believe, yes I do. I have 3 in here, and these were accidental whips from last month. So in July. From July. I had a surgery in July, and before I had the surgery, I prepped a bunch of pages with alcohol markers so that I could just come in with pencils and shade, because I couldn't lift my alcohol marker tub, but I could take my pencils to bed. So this was one of the books that I had in hospital while I was recovering, and then in bed with me. And I coloured in a bunch of them, and I thought I had coloured them all, because I thought these were the last ones, but this was actually the last one I based. But I had actually based some additional ones, and I entirely forgot. So this month, when I filmed the completed pages, I was like, oh dear, there's 3 more. So I made a point this month of trying to complete those 3 whips, because they're very easy whips to finish. So we have this cute little monster in the bed. So they're all based with alcohol markers, and then I use color pencils on top. This one I also used some iridescent watercolors. I got a new set of iridescent watercolors I was just playing around with, just this little tiny set here. So that's all the iridescent watercolor that you've been seeing in the backgrounds and stuff so far. So yeah, I was just playing around with making little shiny ghosts. She's very cute. I do like her. And then we have this little birthday one here, which is again alcohol markers, color pencils, a white gel pen, and a little bit of iridescence on the bow. And then the final one was this one here. So these ones, colors were chosen. A lot of these colors were chosen by just randomly diving into my alcohol marker bucket and just pulling out 5 or so random colors. So that's why the color schemes are quite random, but it works so well for using up old alcohol markers and pushing you to do interesting palettes you wouldn't normally do. Like, this isn't a palette I would normally do, but I do kind of like how it turned out. It's very funky, it's very out there, but it's cute. And again, they're monsters, so they can be odd colors. So yeah, again, color pencils with the alcohol marker. So that was the 3 whips done in there, and so quite a bit of this book is actually already done. But yeah, I've really been enjoying just pulling out random colors, making it work, doing my best with whatever colors I pull out and making the palettes fit. So yeah, we might end up doing some more in here soon. I quite like that one. All right, what's this one? Jade Summer, Magical Mermaids. That's right. I have this one here. I actually really love how this one turned out. It's really pleased with how I got shading and stuff going. Again, this uses water-based markers as watercolor, which has, of course, buckled the page terribly, as you can see, but I don't mind that. I don't mind a bit of page buckling, and this will compress back down. It's a lot better than it already was. It was very, very buckled, and it has been in a pile, though I think this one was near the top of the pile, so yeah, but that will compress back down a bit over time. But even so, I still don't think it's too bad in terms of a little bit of crinkling. But I was really pleased at the colours that I chose, the way it works together, but also that I managed to get a bit of shading, and it's still watercolory, but there's some depth to it. I did add in a little bit of I think polychromos, just like in a couple areas where I needed really deep shadows, because the paper was getting to a point I really couldn't layer on too much more. And then there's a bit of super golden markers for like different gems and stuff in her hair. And then on the butterfly, of course, is Mod Podge Extreme Glitter. Yeah, I really do like how that came together. I really, really love the hair. I was very proud of the hair, and just like the little effect in the water here. I probably should have come into the water and added in some white highlights here, but I really wanted the focus to be on her. So I was like, I'm not going to do any highlights in the background or anything. Just keep all the focus on her. But yeah, this is a super cute book. I'm actually looking forward to doing some more in here. Like, really nice book. So yeah, Jade Summer, Magical Mermaids. Okay. Oh, sure. Let's do this monstrosity. So this here is Any Day. I'm going to need to move my mic. Any Day by Morgan O'Brien. So this huge, huge clear file has not only Any Day, but it has Any Day Autumn and Any Day Winter at the back here. So I have 3 colouring books and 1 in this book. But I find I quite like having it all together. It made sense to me to put them all together until Morgan maybe puts out another Any Day book, which I hope he does, because Magic Mouse is cute, but I freaking love Any Day. However, if he does put out another Any Day, I will just remove the first one, because this is my first ever completed colouring book. I am so, so happy to have completed a colouring book. And so with these pages, I have actually kept it consistent the whole way through, and I've used the same technique, which is using water-based markers like Crayola Super Tips as a watercolor. And so colouring onto a palette, picking it up with a brush and applying it onto the page. And then I've often used like washi tapes or stickers, glitters, gel pens, just to add in some highlights. But I've had the exact same palette for Année the whole way through. I still have the pens marked. And so Année is the same all the way through. The reason why Année has this blue palette is I used to actually have this color blue here. And if you squint at Année, it kind of looks like A-M-I-E. So I read this as Amy Day. And I do a lot of the stuff in here, or I'd like to do a lot of the stuff that's in here. So yeah, we've always said this is Amy Day. This is Amy as a bunny. I know technically Année is an ant. Not an anteater. Anteater? I know she's not technically a bunny, but Morgan also said he's open to your own interpretation. So we're going with bunny. But yeah, so I really do love Any Day. And so to have this book completed is pretty awesome in my mind. So here's where we start with what we did this month. Now, I'm not going to take them out of the plastic just because there's a lot in here. I did 8 of them. I did 8 of them in one day. But we have Année with the chickens, and these chicken butts on here. I kept thinking of Candace from Happy Catastrophe while colouring this one. And then we've got Année working on a loom. I really like her outfit here. I thought her outfit was really cute. That's washi tape. And then there is some super golden markers for her little collar and around the edge and stuff. I did also put some Mod Podge glitter for like adding into the flowers. I often do that for the flowers. I probably should take them out of the plastic. We'll do it. We'll take them out of the plastic. They look so much better. We'll stop being lazy. Yeah. So I got the PDF copy from Morgan O'Brien's Ko-fi store. I have them printed on quite a thick card, and then I apply the watercolor, the water-based markers as a watercolor, and do things like washi tape for the pants and the bandana here, and then white paint pen to do all the highlighting, and stuff like metallic markers or glitter and little touches like that, but pretty consistent all the way through in terms of how I apply the color. Ooh. Watch me struggle. Alright, and then these two. Now this one, unfortunately, I did have some splatter on, but that's okay. We can just use some white paint pen to cover up that one in time. So yeah, we have this one here. So I really like the peachy sunset color that I did for the background. I thought that was really quite a pretty color. I also really like how a dress came together too. So yeah, I did have to go over some of the lines, and unfortunately I didn't have my usual black fine liner, and this one just was a little too fat. So some of my lines are like pretty bold, but I don't mind it. It still looks alright. So yeah, a little bit of super golden marker for in there, washi tape, super golden, like just like little details on her bandana, and then here, and of course little hedgehog that has been nicknamed Wardart, paint pen for little dots on the grass. Then we have by the ocean. I had to make the ocean glittery, like felt like walking along. We have a very long walkway here in Namuto, Taranaki, New Plymouth. I think it's about 19 kilometers long now, but they're aiming to get it right around the coast of my region. And so I used to use it to get to work, and work is several kilometers away, and I used to bike it there and back every day when I went into the lab and worked full time. Yeah, but it's a gorgeous walk. It's the foreshore walk, and it's just gorgeous to walk along. You're right beside the ocean. You get all these gorgeous views. It's a very common walking path here. Lots of like different art sculptures along the ways, and beaches and playgrounds and places for families to hang, and yeah, really nice. So it reminded me a lot of that, so I wanted to go with those vibes. Again, washi tape for her outfit, and then her bag. I like giving her like coordinated outfits sometimes. I think they look quite cute little sets. A couple of paint pens for like details on the grass, and then of course glitter for the ocean. Okay. Halfway. Yeah, we have Année with a baby pig, which, oh, it was so cute. Honestly, the hardest thing on this page for me was just figuring out what washi tape to use. But when I found this one with the little cherries and the baby bottles and the bows and the tartan, I was like, oh, that's cute. So decided would use that. There's a little bit, again, glitter on the bottle here. And just the water-based markers, and then a paint pen to do some highlights. Yeah, really simple, but cute. And then we have the bath scene, which I think was the most difficult one out of all the ones I was doing. Like, this is the one I had till last. Just because I didn't really have a color scheme in mind. Like, often I look at these and I have a very clear color scheme in mind. And this one I was just like, I don't know. So I just kind of went almost natural tones. Like, it's very wood and earthy tones, but then purples and blues and golds. Like, yeah, I feel like every other page that I've done that involves like Annie's house is always so bright and so colorful, and like there's always so much, like nothing's neutral, you know, like it's always so much color in her house and her rooms and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I still like it though. Don't get me wrong. I think it's actually really nice how it turned out. I was just a little surprised that I was like, it's very muted for me. For how I colour Année usually. But hey, maybe she needs a room in the house where things are chiller and less colourful and less bright, and you know, it's her zen zone. It's her chill out zone. Right, and then the last two is not those two because I had previously done them. It's these two. So we have Année knitting. Come on. Hands aren't great today. And then we have Horse Année. Come on. Come on. So yeah, we have Année knitting. I knew for the background I just wanted to do rainbow. I thought it'd be fun to do like a nice white shelf with a darker inside. And then I just really wanted to play around with almost rainbow colours for the yarn in the background. And I was thinking maybe I could glitter the yarns, but I decided to glitter her sweater because I thought that would be really cute to have a glittery sweater. And then, yeah, washi tape for her bandana. I technically actually used a washi tape that has a bunch of text over it, but I cut it into small little pieces so that it wouldn't be as noticeable that it's full of text and just look like a peach and white pattern. I just thought this corally pink peachy tones would go quite well. So yeah, that's Année knitting. I like the fact that she has a piece of paper where she's trying to keep track of her rows. Never worked for me when I was trying to do that for counting crochet rows. And then we have Horse Année. Yeah, I think I really like this one. I really like the pink in the background for the sky as well, and the glittery sky. Just a very simple outfit, but I really wanted to like make the horse like a bit of a focus here too, so decided not to give her any sort of patterns on her clothing. She's just wearing plain horse riding clothing. Instead focus on the horse, but of course I had to include some glitter because of course. So yeah, that is the 8 Année Day pages that I have done, and as you can see, it's the end of the book. So yeah, that is officially my first ever completed colouring book. I have done already the first page in here that was done a while ago, so I think we will focus next on autumn. There's a few Halloween pages in there too, so I think that'll be a neat one to do during October. I know it is technically autumn for a lot of y'all on the other hemisphere, but here in Aotearoa it is spring and we are moving into summer. So yeah, we'll see how we go. But in the meantime, first ever completed colouring book. Okay. Oh, need that. Alright. Creepy Kawaii. This is by Larissa May Marinas. Very, very cute book. It's a very old book, I believe. 2021? Okay, not that old. I thought it was old. And I did this one here. Now, this is another thing that you're actually going to see a bit this month too. So, again, we've got our granulating watercolor here for this bunny. But the rest of this page has actually been colored with paint pens. And I ended up doing it quite a bit during the month of using acrylic paint pens and actually coloring with them. And as we move on, you'll see I even managed to do some shading with some of them, and I had a lot of fun playing around with paint pens this month as well. But yeah, I really like the texture that the bunny has with the different elements around it as well, and how like matte and flat some of these elements are. And then we got our shine and stuff like that. So yeah, it was quite fun. And again, there are a lot of pages this month where I could have sat down and worked out a bit of colour scheme and done things in a certain way. A lot of this was I just need to colour. I just need to colour. So this is definitely I just need to colour, slap down some ideas, tune out the page, put it to the side, next page. I still like how it turned out though. but yeah, it is going to be something you'll see a bit this month. So it's Creepy Kawaii Pastel Goth Colouring Book. Oh, no, that's 2 books. We have Chris Raniak's Morning Scribbles Colouring Book. That's right, I did all the little minis. These ones are so cute. So once again, this is water-based markers as watercolor. And I think I was just playing around with different colors for different creatures. I did use a little bit of pencil to shade and deepen certain areas as well, because I can see a little bit like neon green on here and a little bit pencil around there. And then for all their eyes, I added in Mod Podge Sparkle as well. Just a simple page. It was just like rainbow colourful monsters, cute bulgy eyes, and have fun with it. But yeah, this is such a cute book. Like, these some very simple pages. I love the sketchy shaded details. Yeah, I think I was in a little bit of pain and I couldn't lift my alcohol marker tub, so I was like, you know what, I'll just do it with water-based markers. I'll do the small page. Yeah, very cute. That's Chris Raniak's Morning Scribbles. Oh, what do we got here? Yeah, we got another one of the Creepy Kawaii Pastel Golf Colouring Books. This one is Creepy Fantasy. That's right, I did the Cerberus page. This one's so cute. So for this one, I used Neo Color 2s to do the background. And then I did use... Did I base the animals? No, I just went straight in with pencils on all the other elements. So yeah, these claw pencils, I believe, to colour this all in. And then I used iridescent shimmer for the little Cerberus creature themselves. Bunch of super golden markers to the little details. Of course, Mod Podge glitter for the little ghosties. Bit of white paint pen to go back over their eyes. And yeah, super cute. Super, super cute. Very shimmery. I don't know why I chose green. Again, there's a few pages where I've been like, I don't know why I chose green. But apparently I chose a lot of green this month. Right, we have World of Fairies by Sarah Berrier. So this is the same illustrator that did the Mermaids book. But this is her Fairies one, which again has like really fun, sketchy lines and some really beautiful images. So that's what I coloured in this month. So again, this is water-based markers as watercolour. I had a big run of using them as watercolour. And then, so I wanted to like, there's a lot of like little circles and splattery things up here and around. Like, I wonder if I can find, like you can see it on here. There's a little bit of just like scatter in the illustrations. So I wanted to, there's a little bit more there. So I wanted to kind of emphasize that and did my own sort of splatter effect at the top that it fades out to. I then used some white paint pen and silver super golden markers to do some extra like dotty splattery bits around. Just kind of have fun with it. So yeah, water-based markers. I then did grab some pencils to do some areas of shading, super golden to do some like little details around, and some gel pens. There's some glitter, like a lot of different things that were just thrown at this page, but I really do like how it came together. It's very cute. That is World of Fairies by Sarah Berrier. Alright, it appears we have a pile of cute and cozy books. I definitely, like, I tended to work in grouping. So it was like, one night I did all of the Année Day ones. One night I just pulled out a bunch of RJ Hampson, which are coming up somewhere in here. One night was a pile of cute and cozy ones, or a pile of this particular type of work, or I think there might be a few Camellia and Jacoba. I know one night I did a bunch in Joanna Basford. Like, I had nights where I just sit down and go, okay, I'm going to do all of this or all of this or all of this. And I'd be working on 5, 6, 7, 8 pages all at once and do a bit in one. And while one was drying, flick to the next, work on that. It would dry and on to the next. And I was just bouncing through because, again, it was like I just had to colour. So, yeah, this is how we've ended up with so many to go through. Oh. I'm already running low on water. Might have to get some more water. Right, this is Cozy Japan by Jade Summer. And I did this one. I love how this one turned out. This is what started me on the paint pen deep dive. So once again, I have granulating watercolor in the background. I believe this is the first set that does actually granulate quite well. And then I got this set of really cheap paint pens. And I just was like, you know what? I wonder if I can just like color and blend with them. And so I tried it. And I was like, wow, that's cool. So yeah, that's how this came to be. I took like, this has got the purple. We've got a little bit of the black, a little bit of the white. This is the pink. It kind of went more purpley, but I would like try and add a little bit into certain areas. A little bit of white on the eyebrows. There were 2 blues. So I was trying to work the dark to the light blue together. Yeah, I actually, this is the first one I tried, a little bit of yellow on the green bird here. And yeah, this is the first time I tried like properly blending with them, and it's like, okay, this is kind of cool. And that's what started me on a few more that you'll see coming up, playing around with blending on them. So yeah, I really like how this came together. It's very simple, but again, it was really fun, and I really enjoyed working with the paint pens. So that's Cozy Japan by Jade Summer. A Creepy Kawaii. This is another one by the Larisa May Marinas. I think there's a different name for them. But that's what's printed in the book, so that's what we'll go with. But yeah, Creepy Kawaii. So this one's a bold and easy. So a lot more simpler images, which worked well for playing around with different things. So I did this little Cthulhu. So this one, again, used the granulating watercolor to color in the actual image, and then I pulled out the paint pens to go back over the eyes, super golden markers to go back around the outline, and the little crescent on the head, and then I had some like glitter markers I used for the bubbles, and I just went around the edge of everything with a blue acrylic paint pen, because even though I was trying to keep the granulating watercolor within the lines, there was a little bit of spread given the nature of the granulating watercolors, so that just cleaned things up in there. But yeah, that was a really quick, fun way to color in this big, expansive creature, and I really like how the granulating watercolor becomes like the texture of the creature. So yeah, that was a really fun one. You can see you can see the spread between the red that wants to sit on top and the green that wants to go underneath. Really great way to see what your granulating watercolors, 2 colors are. But yeah, had a lot of fun with that one. So that is Creepy Kawaii. Oh, excuse me. Okay. So I have 3 of the Hilda Folk. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, by Olda Alga. I'm probably butchering that, but super, super cute illustrations and very nerd adjacent, which I like. And you'll see here, this is where I really started getting into the paint pens. So I did this little soot sorcerer one. I had so much fun with this and like trying to make it lineless with the paint pens. Again, it would definitely look better if I went around the edge and properly framed it, but I never have energy to do that. So yeah, this is acrylic paint pens and a little bit of Neocolor 2 in the background just to do that gradient. But all paint pens that I sort of blended together to create all the different textures. I just think it's so cute. It's so fun with it being lineless as well. And then we have the Fjordafolk Mountain Village. And once again, Neocolor 2 for the background, and then paint pens. Really focusing on trying to do some blending and bring things together. Really do like how that castle in the clouds turned out and how that moon turned out. So yeah, you can see here like a little bit of a cleaner black edge. Like this isn't particularly clean, but framing it a bit better does help a little bit as well. And then we have the Hilda folk going on an adventure. We have this one here, tree swinging. I really like the blend they got in the greens with this one. This one I feel like I got the most successful blend. Again, Neocolor 2s in the background and paint pens. Yeah, those are my free Hilda folk pages. And then we have Dungeons and Drawings by Alice Mack, which, oh, so cute, D&D. And we did this little dragon, so cute. So once again, we have granulating watercolor in the background. I really liked how this one granulated because I feel like you get to see a lot of the different textures and colors and stuff like that. And then, of course, paint pens, acrylic paint pens, which I did blend. And I was really, at this point, I was getting a lot more confident with the blending. So that was really cool to do this one and be like, yeah, this is fine. And blending all the different colors together. And there's a little bit of a shimmer paint pen, just because I wanted to have a different green for down here. That wasn't the green of the dragon. Yeah, I really like this one. I also use the same sort of shimmery pen in the eye as well. So there's a little bit of sparkle in the eye. Just all that fun granulating texture. Again, I use these a lot this month. So that's Dungeons and Drawings. We have Cat Mum by Vivi Tinter. And we have this grumpy cat here. I saw this one. I was like, I have to color this one. I have to color this one. So this one actually uses alcohol markers. We're back to alcohol markers for this one. And then a little bit of different paint pens to do some highlights. And I was trying to shade with the alcohol markers and create all the shadows with the alcohol markers. Again, with my very limited palette of colors. A lot of my colors are running very, very low. I did also grab out a fine liner just to add some more texture to the cat fur. And then the Mod Podge Sparkle for all the bubbles. Yeah, really. I love the little grumpy cat. It just looks so, like, so upset. But just cracks me up so much. So, yeah. As soon as I saw this page, it's like, I have to color this one. That is such a cute book. Cat Mum by Vivi Tinter. And then I have Alvin Valley by Sabarin Studios. And I have this one here. So this is very Lord of the Ring, Alvin. Super, super gorgeous book. Really interesting style in terms of how they sketch people. Yeah. But I did this one here. So again, this one was with paint pens. This is one of the earlier paint pens before I kind of worked out how to blend. But I also used a lot of really shimmery stuff, especially in the like background of here. Because I was like, oh, what if like there's just a natural glow of the magic of the land and everything's slightly shimmery. And I just thought it'd be fun to play around with the shimmers. And then I did draw the stars in and then dotted some Mod Podge on top. Originally I was just going to dot a little bit around the stars. But I didn't realize I hadn't quite let the pen dry enough. And so it picked up. So I just dotted it everywhere and dragged that gold around. And yeah, I don't mind it though. So yeah, this one's pretty simple because there's not a lot of shading. I just kind of flat colored everything. Just kind of was like, how many shimmers can I use? How many sparkles can I use? But again, it was just color this month. And I do like how it turned out. I'm a big fan of sparkles though. So for me, I think it's great. So that is Alvin Valley by Sabarin Studio. I think there is some more cozy books somewhere, but we're moving on with the pile. So we have this one here, which I haven't even trimmed the protection sheet of. I should have a pair of scissors. Maybe I can do that as I go. Depends how many we have. So this is townscapes, animals, variety goods, cakes, flowers, cooking, and 5 bears. I have not written down the illustrator's name. I should do that. But the page that I did was the introduction page, because I believe this was the last of my, I think it's Tokumeku is the name of the series. I believe this was the last one that was left to do a page in, and I always like to start with the little introduction pages. So I did debate for a while if I was going to do my bears all different colors, if I was going to keep them consistent. And in the end, I did decide to keep them consistent, because it isn't actually particularly clear which bear is which a lot of the time. So I was like, okay, let's just keep the bears all the same colors. And for this one, I actually used the Distress Watercolor pencils by Tim Holtz, and I believe it was set 4 that I used entirely for this thing. So yeah, very, very cute though. I like the harmonious palette of keeping it quite limited together, and then I did pull out a Neo color too, and just put a little bit of a yellow wash in the background, and I just put some gold splatter on there because I was like, it just needs a little bit of something more. But yeah, just keeping it very harmonious with the colors, and I think it looks really cute. So I'm looking forward to actually getting a proper page done in here at some point. Next one I have is Maria Trolle's Universe, or Universum, I think is the other name for it. So this is a collection of pages from various books of hers, and I did this page that originally came from Nightfall. So once again, we have granulating watercolor in the background, which surprisingly did not bleed through. Very, very shocked on that one. But yeah, held up pretty well. And then I use Pablo colored pencils to color in the branch and the bird, and then some super golden markers, still little bits around it. And I also did dabble on some stickles to just add a little touch of sparkle in the background. I do really like how this one came together. I think this one is very, very cute. I'm just realizing that it should technically have a protection sheet, and it doesn't have one, so I'll have to create one of those. Alright, now that's done. So yeah, that was my page in Universe by Maria Trowell. And then I also did a page in Fairy Tale Worlds by Maria Trowell. And I just did the introduction page. Again, making sure that things didn't bleed through. I thought this would be the good page to test it on, and I just thought it would be a really cute page to play around with this. So once again, Gansai Tambi granulating watercolors, and then Pablo pencils, a little bit of super golden markers, a little bit of a white gel pen, and a little bit of Mod Podge sparkle. Just color in a simple little fairy, a little bit of the granulating watercolor around, and a bunch of splatter on top of it. Yeah, very simple, but I really do like how this one came together. I thought that was super cute. Just a fun way to do the intro page. So yeah, do need to still do a proper page in there, but at least we did the intro page. Alright, I believe these are all Camellia and Jacova. We got a bunch. Ooh. Yeah, okay. So yeah, a bunch more Camellia and Jacova. So we'll start with the this one, so it's on top, the 50 Zodiac themed miniatures. So I did 2 of these, which are the 2 pages for colouring bumblebees prompt that she has for colouring this whole book. Yeah, I think I still have a couple to catch up on, which I'll get to eventually, but I was like, I'll jump in. So I did the 2 that are part of the prompt. Unfortunately, I have got a little bit of splatter there, but that's okay. We'll clean it up. So very simple, just alcohol marker, a little bit of Kahlua coloured pencils, and some super golden markers to do some details. It's so cute though. So we did the Leo page, and then we did the Chibi Dragon page as well. I just really wanted to do a purple dragon. But yeah, I also really like how this came together. I don't know why I did purple and orange, but I really like the combo. So again, alcohol markers, Kahlua pencils, super golden markers, and this one uses a bit of Mod Podge sparkle as well. So yeah, I believe this, I guess it's the next two. So the Chibi Snake and then the Virgo, I think. I know, I'll have to go and look at Jess's page to see what this month's prompts are. And then we have 50 Spellbound Aquatic Scenes to colour. And I have this little cutie one here. So again, we've got some alcohol markers, and then shaded with Kahlua coloured pencils, a little bit of super golden markers. This one I used some iridescent watercolour, and then the glitter. Yeah, just very, very simple, but super cute. Honestly, I was shocked that I found a blue that still had any juice left in it, even though it kind of went a bit weird over here. I was just grateful that I had a blue that still worked. I was able to get a little bit of blue out of. That's 50 Spellbound Aquatic Scenes. Then we have 50 space-themed miniatures, which will be perfect for Space Timber. And I did this one here. I had a lot of fun with this one. Part of me still thinks maybe I should do a little bit down the bottom here. But I was really just experimenting. So I did use alcohol markers to colour him. But then I was also playing around with Distress ink pads for the sky here. And then Distress ink is water activated. So I dropped some water on it. I dropped some iridescent watercolours on it. I just kind of splattered stuff everywhere. And just played around a lot, but I really like that contrast of it. A little bit of Kahlua pencils to shade, super golden markers, Mod Podge glitter. Yeah, so probably needs a little something on the ground, but I also kind of like the contrast of the light ground and the dark sky. But probably a little bit of ground would just like ground him a little bit more. But also I could have just brought that black down, just had him floating in space as well. So yeah, very, very cute one. Definitely some great pages in here for Space Timber. So might look at doing some more in that one this month too. And then we have 50 ghostly cute miniatures to colour. And I have this one here. This giant carrot, which, I don't know, I thought this page was super duper cute. So yeah, alcohol markers, Kahlua pencils, Mod Podge extreme glitter, super golden markers. It's a running combo this month. So much glitter on this one, but I know I just really wanted to do the sky glittery. This one comes with a lot of black already coloured in, so that was really cool to put over the top. So that's 50 ghostly cute miniatures. Try not to spend too long on every single page, because again, we've still got a lot of books to get through, but you know. 30 Spellbound Cloudy Scenes. And I did this little cutie one. This one I didn't even do any pencil shading on. This one I just literally coloured flat with alcohol markers. Used super golden to like highlight some areas. And then added on sparkles. It was really just about I wanted sparkly, I wanted shiny. So yeah, didn't come back with pencils. I was like, meh, don't wanna, doesn't need it. It's cute. I'm done. Again, a lot of my colouring this month was just I need to colour. So it was about the process of colouring and playing around with different things rather than necessarily sitting there with a pencil to create the most shaded, detailed look. And that did the job, and I actually really like how it turned out. I really like the colour combo. I think it's a really cute colour combo. It's very light and ethereal, and I like the little, it's like a little bit of metallic touch all the way around. So I really like that. Right, Arctic themed miniatures. We have this page here. the pink was dying, the blue was dying. Whatever colors were running out. I think technically the purple, I had to switch purples, but I'd only just started with the purple, so it's only just like a little bit, and then I could switch out to another one. Yeah, I tried, but I also was dealing with some very dead markers, so we get some little patchiness, but honestly, I had fun. I don't know why, but this one decided to outline everything with the super golden markers. So I kind of like it with the outline and then playing around with different paint pens for highlights and, of course, Mod Podge Extreme Glitter for glitter. Because why not? So yeah, that is Arctic themed miniatures. And then we have dragon themed miniatures. And we have this one here. So this was another Gansai Tambi background. However, this one just did not granulate all that well. And I ended up dropping in some like shimmer on top to try and help it granulate. It's meant to be an orange brown and it just sat there. So it's a little sad about that, but I was like, meh, I'll make it work. And so I decided to keep that orangey brown red tones and use that to theme the whole page. So I used alcohol markers and then Mod Podge glitter over the dragon egg, and a little bit of like a green shimmer for the eyes, because I thought that would be a really nice pop of just a tiny bit of green and bring that green in from the background too. So yeah, that is the dragon themed miniatures. Now I'm going to have some more water. Alright. Oh, what's this pile? Oh, we have one more Camellia Magic over there. We'll pull that one out. I think that's... What are these? We'll pull these ones out too. Yeah, these are also like Amazon printed. Oh, give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to sort the piles for a minute. Okay, got that all sorted because I realised all the RJ Hampson was also mixed up, so I pulled all those out. But we'll do the one more Camellia Andrikova, which is dessert themed miniatures. And we have these two little cuties here. So once again, this is Distress ink for the background that I did end up spraying some different shimmers on and dropping on some iridescent watercolor, as well as just some water to create sort of like a speckled background. And then I used alcohol markers to shade these two with a little bit of like gel pens for highlights and color pencils to shade in. And yeah, just, I don't know, the bright pink candy background, I just feel like just works so well with them. And needs a little bit of metallic paint pen around them as well, just to make like a little bit of a cleaner transition between the two. But I really like that one. I just really like colouring fruit as well and desserts, so you can see having a lot of fun colouring this one because there's lots of yummies in here, and I really like colouring cakes and candies and stuff like that, so I think that's going to be fun. So that's dessert themed miniatures. Right, RJ Hampson run. So we've already done the 2 Tiny Tales books, but then I also have Oceans, Forest Song, Around the World, Hide and Seek, Mountain King, Moonlight Mischief, and Night Garden that I worked in this month. Again, I would have absolute runs of something, so I just pulled out a bunch of RJ Hampson books and went for it one night. Obviously, this is not all my RJ Hampson. I still have some RJ Hampson to work in. But I was pleased I got as much done as I did get done. So the first one I have is in Night Garden, and I did the Firefly page. And so this one uses water-based markers as watercolor, and a little bit of super golden markers for the wings of these little dragonflies, and then Mod Podge Extreme Glitter over the night sky and also in the jar. Yeah. I was really pleased with the shading that I got on the flowers here as well. And of course, this is one of the ones with duplicates with a difference, so there's an option to do it again, but there's another variation of it. And I believe the earlier variation didn't have the black coloured in. Yeah, there it is there. But I really liked how it looked with the black background, so that's why I decided to go for that variation. That's Night Garden. Then we have Moonlight Mischief. We have this one here with the little dragons on the clock. Now, I used water-based markers again. This one I had quite a bit. There's like a lot of crinkling here because I put a lot of layers on here. And I actually had a lot of bleeding on this one. I think my hands were pretty shaky at this point. So I did end up also going around a bunch of this with super golden markers. I kind of wish I'd extended it out a bit more uniformly because there's some real chunky areas down here that are colored in, and then a lot of empty space around here. But yeah, I do really like the colors that it shows. It's a very muted palette for me, but I think it's really effective. So yeah, water-based markers, gel pens for the white highlights, super golden markers, and a bunch of like shimmer markers and stuff like that. She's very crinkly, but I like her. Then we have Mountain King. And we have the Woodland Dryad. So this one is the Ganzai Tumbi watercolor in the background. And at this point, I had worked out that if I took set 1 with the Aurora colors and set 2, can't remember what the name of set 2 is, but if I took those 2 sets and worked them together, they actually granulated a lot better. So that's what I was doing here, is I was playing around with both sets and multiple colors from each set, and that created all these different colors in the background. I did also add in some of the iridescent watercolor. I then used polychromos pencils to color in the dryad with a little bit of a shimmery pen for the cloud up there. Yeah, I really, really like that. I really like the background. This one actually didn't get too buckly considering as well. Yeah, I really like her. I think I really like this Mountain King book. Like, I know, something about this one really gravitated towards me a lot. Then we have Hide and Seek. And I did Lunchtime, which is just so funny. Such a funny page. So again, this is the Ganzai Tumbi watercolor. Mixing a couple different sets together with the iridescent inks in the background. And then I think this has got some Pablos as well as the polychromos pencils. And yeah, a little bit of white gel pen. I think that was about it. Yeah, I love this page. I think this one's so funny. Let's Hide and Seek. Then we have Around the World. So I just did Mr. Fogarty's clock here. I feel like this page I wasn't as pleased with when I came back to it. I think I had started to use a little bit of the water-based markers as watercolor, and it just wasn't coming out like I imagined. It might have even been reactivating the color in the background. So I came in and I actually used the water-based markers directly on the page and just directly colored with them, and just played around with layering different colors. I think I even pulled out a little bit of alcohol markers too. I remember something on this page really wasn't working to plan, so I was just kind of figuring out what to do, and that's why a lot of this has just got like super golden on top. But yeah, I think in the end, like, it's not bad. It's not very harmonious. This is completely the wrong color to go with this, but you know, I think it started with the color in the background. Like, this is meant to be like a green orange shift, and it just went so fluoro orange that I wasn't pleased with it, but there's another variation of it, and it did its job. And we have Forest Song. And this one, I've had a lot of issues with this one. So this one uses alcohol markers. I did initially start shading it with a bunch of different colors, but all my colors kept on running out. Every color I was choosing was running out. It was spotchy. It was patchy. I was like, this is just not working. And then in the end, I thought, you know what? I'm going to grab this random tan brown color that I found that has actually got a bit of juice to it. And I'm going to go over everything, and I'm going to use it to try and clean up the patchiness of it. Everything's getting a brown tint, and then we'll come in with some pencils and we'll shade on top to pull things in and out. And I love how it turned out. Like, it is so, like, that colour running all the way through turned it from being what would have been quite, having a lot of bright areas, turned it actually very harmonious. And then there's a little bit of Mod Podge glitter and glittery gel pens on top to finish it off. But I'm very pleased with this one. Okay, sorry about that. Had to just check up on something. Managed to knock my camera out of position as I did, so hopefully we're not too bad. Right, the last RJ Hampson that I have is from Oceans. And of course, I had to do the jellyfish page. I love my jellyfish, so of course I had to do the jellyfish page. And I freaking love how this page turned out. You can see how much water I used by how much the page has shrunk, because of course the water causes the fibers of the page to expand and shrink. That's why they crinkle. So yeah, this page has shrunk quite a bit with how much water I put on the page, but I love how this one turned out. So again, this is granulating watercolors in the background, and again I mixed the different palettes and used different colors to get all the different granulations, and I feel like that's the way to go. And then I used Pablo pencils to color in the page, and a little bit of super golden and white gel pens to do some highlights, and of course Mod Podge extreme glitter, because of course. But yeah, I really like this page. I can see doing a lot in Oceans as well. I mean, I love sea creatures, so of course this book speaks out to me a lot. So yeah, that's all the RJ Hampson ones. Okay. Oops, losing my bookmark. Luckily I know the page in this one. So this is the Rado Pepe bilingual colouring book. This is a Kiwi colouring book that has been done by Kitty Brown and Kristen Parkinson. And is actually technically a kids colouring book that is about teaching Te Reo Māori to children as they colour. But I thought it was a really neat book. It's fabulous paper, and I thought it would be a really fun book to colour in. It also comes with stickers. I mean, I can't say no to stickers. They're really pretty stickers too. So yeah, but I did this page here, which is something that I've wanted to colour for a while. Did not quite go to plan, because I started with doing the background, and I pulled out my gouache paints, and I was just putting down a straight, like this was just going to be the sky, and then I was going to work on top of that with bush. And as soon as I started working with the watery color, it started really lifting the paper badly. It did not like watered down color, and I wanted to do so like a watercolory bush look, so there was maybe some hills in the distance, and to do that I needed to pile more water on the page. Basically, I did not think the paper would hold up for me doing the technique that I wanted to do, and so I made the decision then. It's not come through too badly. I mean, it has at the bottom, but that's something different. I made a decision then that I was just going to leave the background plain, and I wasn't going to worry about adding in that, and instead just focus on colouring in the rest of it where I used the gouache thicker, so it wouldn't be as much of an issue because there wouldn't be that watery effect. So that's what I did. I focused on the rest of it. So I pulled out my acrylic paints and some gouache and just played around with finishing off the rest of this, colouring in my dolphin, and my little fantail, and then the Pahutakawa flowers as well. And then for the water, I decided I wanted to add a little bit of shimmer to the water, so I did paint it blue, but then I pulled out some iridescent paint style pens that I have. If you have Kmart, you'll recognize them. I love these pens. They're seriously so good. And so I just brushed that over the water to create sort of like that shimmery effect. So that's where, unfortunately, they did bleed for a little bit. But that's okay. Like, I can figure that one out. But yeah, that was a really neat page to colour in. And yeah, while it didn't go quite to plan with the background that I wanted to create, I do really like how it turned out. And it was really fun to pull out the paints and do a bit of painting with the acrylic paints instead of just like the watercolory paints this month. So that is the Rado Pepe bilingual colouring book. We have Astrology Cats by Jen Racine. And because it was August, I did the Leo page. I think I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. So yes, this one I used alcohol markers as the base. And then I did also shade with the alcohol markers. So trying to just use the alcohol markers to colour everything in. And then again, those same brush pens that I just showed you before is what I use for this background. Because I was like, oh, shimmery, shiny background. It's a little streaky, but it's not too bad. And then I used Super Golden and some various glitter markers that I had just to do like some little details like the cheeks and bits and pieces around. So yeah, really, really simple but cute, and I really like it. I found Jen Racine through my Fabulous Freebies prompt. That was our Fabulous Freebies a few months ago, so really neat to have this whole book. And it's one of those ones that's got 2 sets of images as well, so yeah, quite an interesting colouring book, really unique style and really simple to colour. Just really fun to just sit there and colour it in. So I like how that one turned out, and that is Astrology Cats. Okay. I have Pretty Princess colouring book. This is by Teresa Goodridge. And oh dear. Okay, we're okay. Sometimes with Mod Podge Extreme Glitter, it's technically meant to take 4 weeks to cure. And I can't leave my books open for 4 weeks. I don't have the space to do it. So I try to leave them for a few days, but that's often why I have baking paper in books, particularly if it's double-sided, because these will sometimes stick, especially when they're at the bottom of a pile too. Yeah. So just be careful if you use the Mod Podge glitter. Just be aware it is technically meant to cure for 4 weeks. So yeah. Keep your books, like if you can't keep them open, keep them at least loose and not compressed so things don't stick together. I don't follow my own advice, and sometimes I pay for it. But anyway, I did this page here. So once again, I used the Gansai Tumby granulating watercolors. I was really playing around with the new set I got. So these are all the new colors, and you can see they haven't really granulated all that well here. They're not too bad in terms of bleed through, but yeah, I was a little disappointed with how they didn't quite granulate like I was imagining. And then I did use some water-based markers to colour in some of the details, and then different gel pens and glitters to finish it off. Didn't quite go to plan again because those, I really was trying to figure out how to get set 2 to granulate like set 1. And still haven't really gotten that, but I have learned now that a lot of people struggle with set 2 as well. It's not just me. Set 2 is really bad for granulating. So if you are deciding, looking at getting some Gansai Tumby, go for set 1. Set 1 granulates so much better than set 2. So that is the Pretty Princess colouring book by Teresa Goodridge. Let's pull down this pile here. So we have Adorable Girls by Rada Prince. I ended up buying some PDFs of hers last month, which I started using to create some more bookmarks. Absolutely fell in love with her style. She's got such a fun style. So this book here is just full of adorable feminine portraits. Absolutely gorgeous. And so I did this one here, which is simple, but I love how it turned out. So again, granulating watercolor in the background. I did mix in a little bit of iridescence here to see if I could get a bit more granulation. And then I want to say Color pencils, but I think it might actually be my Pablos now I look at it. I believe it might actually be my Pablos to colour in her. A little bit of, that feels like stickles on the lips and the eyes. A little bit of Super Golden for the gold. Like just really simple. But I really do like how it came together. And I did kind of go a little more sketchy and loose. Like I wasn't really trying to go for flat shading. Because if you look at the cover, you've got all this sort of sketchy line shading. And if you look at her work, she's got a lot of lines as well. So just like thought it would kind of work well. And it does. I really like it. So yeah, absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to get a bunch more done in here. They're just so cute. I love Raider print style. Very pleased to have that book. I have Decora Girls by Coco Wyo. And I did this little cutie here. So this one I know I used water-based markers. And I know I used a bunch of metallic and gel markers and stuff like that. Don't know what the yellow is around it. Maybe I did grab a pencil and shade that out. I know I didn't really use... No, I did use a little bit of pencils for shading, but I was also trying to do a lot of things just shading directly with the markers. So some of it's on here as watercolor, some of it's me directly coloring on the page, some of it's me dabbing on to do some shading with it. I was just playing around a lot with watercolors, water-based markers. Yeah, I really like the palette of her. Like, super, super cute. I can see, like, that's one that I really, really, really love. She's so cute. I kind of want to color a bunch more in here too. Really fun, really cute. So yeah, that's Decora Girls by Coco Wyo. We have Mini Mania Volume 6 by Gabby Wolf. I have this little cutie page here. Water-based markers as watercolor. And then super golden markers for a bunch of highlighting details. I was trying to do shading again with the markers directly on the page. A little bit of white gel pen because I did go around these two because I thought it would help them pop out a bit more. Again, a really simple page, but I just really like how it came together. I really like the palette. I like the softness of it. I just think it's really sweet. I love the happy little mushrooms. And they are slightly metallic. That is Mini Mania Volume 6. Fairy Beauties by Coco Wyo. That's right. I think this is one of the very first pages of the month I did. So yeah, I started colouring this one with Color pencils, just purely Color pencils, and I really, really loved how it was going. And then I decided to glitter over the wings, because of course, fairy, you know, glitter the wings. And I was using Stickles. This is Stickles glitter glue. And it was the very last of a container, so I cut the container open. Was actually scooping it out and applying it to the wings, and it's very heavy on the wings. And then in the process I managed to go with my hands and I spread glitter everywhere, and it was like, you can see a little bits on the side here. Yeah, it went all the way up there, and it's like, wow, darn, that's going to be a problem. And it's not like I could remove it very easily. So it's like, you know what? We'll just embrace it. So she became very, very glittery. She got a fine layer of glitter everywhere. And I really thickened up the glitter on her wings. Because it's like, we'll just make it fairy dust. And then just added a few more bits of glitter around. But yeah, I still really love it. I love the hair. I think the hair is my favorite part. Like, I would love to blend my hair like that. I have done something similar in the past. But I had pink, purple, blue. And my blue was a lot more darker. Yeah, I really love the hair and the way she looks. Yeah, again, another really cute book that I want to colour some more in. So it's Fairy Beauties by Coco Wyo. Don't knock over. Alright. Just trying to take stuff out so things don't get unbalanced. Right, we have Mermaid City, Manga Sparkle by Kay Camero. We have this one here. Again, this is another Gansai Tumbi granulating watercolors. Experiment with the background. And then I believe I used water-based markers to actually color in the creature and some shimmers and stuff like that. I'm not overly pleased with this one. Like, it came together. I just really hate the color palette. It's so dark and dull, and then we've got these little bright happy things here. If I hadn't done that pink, even with the purple there, if I hadn't done that pink, it would work. It would just be a dark moody page. That pink froze it, but that's okay. You know, again, at the time this was just I need to color, so I colored. I think I used a little bit of pencil to do some highlights and stuff too, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's still a very cool eel. But yeah, I feel like I know this one's a bit plain. I feel like these ones can be like really bright and colorful and happy, and like you look at this cover, like it's made for rainbows and sparkles, and I know this one just feels a bit meh, but again, a lot of coloring this month was just I need to color, colored, done. All right, I have Cozy Eras and Comfy and Cozy by Jade Summer. You need a couple more cozy books around. And so I have this one here, which is alcohol markers, a little bit of color pencils, and then some various pens to do some highlighting and stuff like that. I did this on stream, and it was once again can I even find colors that work? So I was very shocked that I managed to find enough colors to make this page work. We did end up, between the two of these books, I think it was like 23 more markers I had to chuck out because they were dead and gone. So yeah, I am slowly making my way through all my old markers, getting rid of all the dead ones. Like, it's making marker selection very tough because these very limited colors now. All right, and then we have Comfy and Cozy, which is this little heart page here, which I thought was super cute. We ended up doing a lot of orange, as you can see, because I had a lot of reddy oranges, browns, and greens. So at least it is harmonious. It's very orange, but I do like how it came together, and with the glitter on the bubbles, like, I think it's really, really sweet. I'm really happy that I added in the little heart cheeks here. I think that just makes it so much cuter. So yeah, those are the two pages in Cozy Eras and Comfy and Cozy by Jade Summer. I managed to also get a little bit of glitter on the front of that one, but that's okay. We have Cute Chibi Creature Colouring by Phoebe M, which is another great cute and cozy book. If it's not officially a cute and cozy book, but it is very cute, simple, but a little bit more detailed. I really love this book. I think it's so neat. And I just tend to colour pretty flatly with alcohol markers and just do some highlighting in the page. It just makes me happy. And I decided I wanted to do this one because I just thought this one was cool. And so alcohol markers, a bunch of like metallic on the snake patterns, and then some like highlighting and glitter pens and glitter, and yeah. And I did the best I could with the markers and the streakiness of the markers, because a few of the markers did go very streaky, but yeah, I really do like how this came together. I thought it was such a cute page. Had an absolute nightmare trying to get these pens to work cohesively, because again, running very low on the pens, but I feel like it came together in the end, so that's the main thing. That is Cute Chibi Creature Colouring by Phoebe M. And then I have Retro Deco by Colour Magana. And I just did this one here. I wasn't sure which one to do, so I just chose the first one in the book. But yeah, I just randomly decided one night, you know what? I'm going to colour a Colour Magana. And again, I just tend to keep these ones pretty simple. Bit of alcohol marker, bit of gel pen highlighting, playing around, trying different things out. My reds were dying in the background. You can see here where I just had to give up and entirely change pen. That was two different reds I tried that just died, and then I had to bring in a third, which also was partially dying. So yeah, I did the best I could with the pens that I had. But yeah, I really like the hair. I really like the way I did the hair. So yeah, that was a really fun little one to do. Paper that I've printed this book on. It's not the greatest for doing things like that, but we made it work. Okay. Oh, right. Can you move back a bit? Oh, there's the other Manga Sparkle. It's like, I know there's one more Manga Sparkle. And then there's... Ooh, I knew there was another Keikimero as well. Right. Oh, sorry. Just seeing the others in my pile. So there are a couple more Keikimero ones. So as well as the mermaid one, there's unicorns and mythical creatures. And we did this random dog creature here. I was trying hard not to imagine that it's a dog that's kind of been flattened out. Like, it's a really weird snake dog. It's very trippy, but I had a lot of fun with it. So this one I used a lot more brighter colours. I was much happier with it. I felt like, yeah, it needed to be bright colours. So Ganzai Tambi watercolour in the background, and then just water-based markers on top that I just flat coloured in everything, and then just pulled out different gel pens and sparkles and just did some details. Very simple colouring, but I really liked how it came together. That little pop of green in there with all the pinks and purples, just really pretty. So that's Unicorn and Mythical Creatures by Kei Camero. And then we have Amigurumi Party by Kei Camero. This is Crochet Snacks and Treats. It's her second crochet one. And this one I used alcohol markers. And it is very, again, flat colouring. But I just enjoyed the simplicity of it. So I did try and do like a little bit of shading with the markers to create like a little bit of depth. But yeah, it's just keeping things pretty simple, to be perfectly honest. It's like, this is cute. I just want to colour this. Bit of alcohol marker. Does the job. And a little bit of sparkly pen as well. But yeah, this one's really cute. If you haven't seen these amigurumi ones, the Cutest of Cute amigurumi books that Kei Camero does, they're full of quite cute colouring pages, and they're meant to be little crochet toys. And at the back of the book, there's usually a couple of crochet patterns by Rika, which are very cute. Okay, we're getting there. Right. Apparently I did one on Rita Berman. That one. Oh, right. I don't think I marked this one, but I have a sneaking suspicion that this is the one that I did a bunch in. Let me find my list. Right, found it. So this is Land Under the Microscope, I believe, or I just call it the Underwater book, by Rita Berman, which of course friggin' love because I love my sea creatures. And so I just decided one night that I was just going to work in this. I just literally started at the start and worked my way from there. So we have this first one here, Ganzai Tambi watercolour in the background, a little bit of iridescent watercolour in there too. Pablo pencils, a little bit of gel pens, a little bit of Mod Podge Extreme glitter. Then we turned the page and we did this one, which again, Ganzai Tambi watercolour, a little bit of gel pen, Pablo pencils, iridescent watercolour as well in that background. And then I did the next page. So this one actually had some bleed through and some transfer. So it had, I think it just had information here. It didn't actually have anything. So I just pulled out some scrapbook paper and some little penguinly, like these little cutouts. I had some jellyfish stickers. This kind of looked like water to me. So I just kind of slapped that together as a quick collage page, which just kind of covered up the transfer. You can see some of the transfer here from here as well. So I might do something similar there one day. I just kind of slapped that together. I think it looks cool. I like it. Feels like icy water. And then we have this one here, this map of the world. So this is Pablo pencils and some of my metallic gel pens. And then we have this one here. So this one is, of course, granulating watercolors. There should actually be a protection sheet here. I don't know where that's gone. Granulating watercolors, and then actual watercolors as well for coloring. So I actually use watercolor paints to try and color everything, as well as some like metallic gel pens and stuff like that for little details. A little bit of glitter on here. And then we have this monstrosity here that took so long to color. So granulating watercolor in the background, and then I think these ones I did use polychromos with a little bit of like an iridescent and glitter pens around as well. But yeah, it's just playing around with different colors and blending different things together, having a lot of fun creating a rainbow world under the sea. But yeah, I know by the time I got to the end of this page, it's like I'm so done. So that's where I stopped. That's not bad. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if you count the collage one, 7, 8. Just an absolute run in this book. I have Critterville 1 and 3, and I did a page in each of these. These are so cute, these books. Like, oh, just so adorable. But I actually ended up doing the page in Critterville 3 first, and I did this page here. I love how this one turned out. I don't know what made me decide to kind of go unnatural with the colors, but it just really clicked with me. Like, blue tree trunks and like pink rocks and purples, and this is actually very harmonious as well. I did not go into this page with a plan. I just started with the sky and was like, oh, purple sunset will be cute, and then green, and then I was like, what if I did the tree trunks blue, and that just kind of spurned on from there. But I really like how it looks, and I really enjoyed doing this whole thing has been done with the Kalua colored pencils, and then a little bit of the Mod Podge glitter for the water, because I love making glittery water, and it feels like the sort of magical land where the water would glitter anyway. And so because I enjoyed that one so much, I also did one in the original Critterville. I think it was the very first page, isn't it? Second. I did this one here. So this one's like a little bit more dark and stormy sky. Don't think it's as effective as the other Critterville page, but I still really like it. Like the pink tree and the pink ground and the blue road and the purple sky, and yeah, I still like it. I think this is probably like, this grey is what kind of, the stone is grey. Like that should have been a different colour, but hey, it's all good. I still think it's cute. So yeah, and it's such a cute series. Like, it's some of my favorite things to color is animals doing people things. So yeah, both of these books super cute. The illustrator is Is Yildirim. If you search Critterville on Amazon, they should come up. They are very cute. There's also number 2, which I do have. I just didn't get to it. Didn't work on it this month. All right. We're just about through all the like A4 books, and I think we're just down to some square books. I have A Colorless Kingdom by Chris Ortega. This is volume 3, and I did, you can see my protection sheet with the transfer from other pages done this month, but I did this page here, which I believe is called Amethyst from memory. There is actually, yeah, at the front here it's got the name, and you can actually Google and pull up reference images of how Chris has colored these pages, which is what I did to kind of try and make sense of the hair and the different wraps and stuff, to try and figure it out, because it looked very tangly at first, and this helped me work out a fair little bit. It's not identical to her print. So for example, there's this section back here which originally I colored as top, but I think it's actually meant to be here, but neither of this is on her reference like at all. So yeah, it was a little confusing, but I do really like how this came together. I had a lot of fun playing around with like blue glow effects, like the moon is the light source, and having that come forward. So I used water-based markers to base everything out, because this felt way too finely detailed to use alcohol markers. So I used water-based markers. And then I used a mixture of Pablo's, Prismas, and Polys to colour in the page and bring in all those different highlights and stuff around the page to like represent the glow of the moon hitting here. And then there's a few different metallic markers for all her jewelry, and of course glitter on the moon. Yeah, I probably should have pulled out an alcohol marker for the background and done this in a alcohol marker, so that would at least be flat. And then the rest of that could have been done in water-based markers. But hey, I still think it looks quite cool. I'm quite pleased with it. I'm really pleased with like the light blonde hair, and I enjoy colouring stomachs and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm pleased with it. I think it looks cool. It was really neat to get a page done in A Colourless Kingdom. Alright. I did a page in Fledgling Fairies by Colouring Heaven. And so I did the Troll Girl page. So once again, Gansai Tambi, granulating watercolors. This one I did again mix the sets and merge different sets together, and it worked really well there. Like, especially because this book has a bit of page texture, so you can see the little runs here. Whenever you use like watercolors in this book, it always highlights these little lines in the paper. It's always been a fault of the paper. So, but I kind of dig it with this sort of granulating background. I think it works. And then I use alcohol markers to color in and base everything. And then I pulled out Pablo's and Polychromos to shade her in and add in some highlights and stuff like that, as well as some metallic gel pens just to pull out a couple of details. But yeah, I really do like how she came together. I thought that was quite cool. I know like colouring her green isn't the most original. I feel like I've seen that quite a few times, but I like it. And this is Colouring Heaven, Fledgling Fairies by Christine Karen. It is now my most completed book. I mean, it was my most completed book, and then I did that big run on Année Day, and then that became my first ever completed book. I thought this was going to be my first ever completed book because it is very close to being done. I have 4 more pages left in here. So yeah, we're very close to having this whole thing done. So I have left to go. I have left to go the Magical Flute, this one here. I have Moonchild Fae, Grace Fairy, and Odette with a little bit of bleed through. So yeah, I just have those 4 left to go, and this whole magazine is completed, which will be pretty neat. It's pretty cool to have it pretty full. And then the other Colouring Heaven that I worked in is Colouring Heaven's Creatures of the Night special, which has illustrations by Sarah Richter. This is my oldest, or one of my oldest Colouring Heavens. It's one of my first adult colouring books that I got, and it had my oldest ever whip in it. So it's got some like my really old bad colouring. Back when I was trying to like get my hands sorted. But I have had this page in progress since 2022. So this has been a very old whip that I finally got around to completing. So I only had a bit of an alcohol marker base on it. And so I finished off the alcohol marker base because I hadn't even based everything. I'd only based a couple of items. And then I used a bunch of Pablo's and Polychromos pencils to shade in and colour in the details. And then you can see there's a little bit of shimmer on our little Fae as well. And then, yeah, just playing around with a bit of glow and all that sort of stuff. But, yeah, I really like how this came together. And I'm just really, really glad that this old whip is done. Like, I just randomly got in the mood one day and was like, you know what? I want to colour that page in. And so I did. And so now, that whip in Creatures of the Night is done. So, yeah. That it's loose in there because this is back when I used to cut things out of the book to start colouring them. So, yeah. So it just has to sit in there very carefully so we don't damage things. But yeah, don't do that. I think that was the last of the loose pages too. Oh no, that's a loose page. But I hadn't based anything on it. But yeah, that page is done, which is really, really exciting. Okay, more water. I ended up working in Joanna Basford. Again, this is another like random, cool, I pull them out, I'm going to work in them. I think this started because I have the Kalor 520 pencil set, and so this month one of the things I also did was transfer my pencils from the tin into a 500 slot pencil case. But of course there's 520 pencils in that set, and only 500 slots in the pencil case. So I put the normal coloured pencils plus the fluoro pencils in this case. And did all the swatching and stuff like that. So, oh, no, that's the wrong case. This one. So yeah, randomly this month I got inspired to just move all the pencils, sort them out. Under here is a sticker that has all the pencil names and numbers, so I can easily slot them back in and know their order. So yeah, that was something that I did this month. But of course, 500 slots and these 520 pencils. So I put the normal colours plus the fluoros in there, but that left the metallics. And I believe these 50 or 60 metallics that came in this set that were loose. And so I was like, you know, I just kind of want to play around with the Color metallic pencils and see what they're like. So I put them into a separate case and are all nicely organised. So just kind of very haphazardly shoved in there. So I just put them separate with a little colour chart and was like, cool, I'll just play around with them in a few books. And so I pulled out Joanna Basford because I was like, I know there's a few different things in here that I could just use the pencils on. Like, for example, this gecko. So once again, we have granulating watercolour in the background. And then we have the Color metallic pencils for colouring in the whole gecko, plus a little bit of super golden marker, which I use for like areas where there was like main body coming through. So it was even more metallic. So yeah, really, really simple colouring. But I thought it was kind of cool. It was a cool way to sort of play with the pencils and use them up. And honestly, I don't colour a lot of Joanna Basford, so it was also a really great way to get into Joanna and do some in Joanna. So we also have Worlds of Wonder. There you are. So similar idea here. I did this little shark submarine robot themabob, granulating watercolor in the background, shark in the metallic color pencils. I think I just used red paint pen for the fish because I thought it would be cool if they were just flat. And then I also have some Stickles glitter gel, and so I just sort of dotted that around on the background as well, just to add a little bit of glitter because I thought that would be quite cool. A little bit super golden for the silver marker as well. But yeah, I really like this one. I think this one turned out really cool. This was a good one to colour in with the metallics. Like colouring in a robot with metallics made sense. And again, I probably wouldn't have done this. Like I can't tell you the last time I worked on Joanna Basford, except for when I was in hospital, because Small Victories is one of my hospital books. So I know I worked on that one semi-recently. But before that, I couldn't tell you. And then I also did one in Rooms of Wonder. And I did this one here. This sort of mandala page. And again, it is just the Color metallic pencils. And then I did use some paint pen in the background. Paint pen did kind of start going a bit streaky. So yeah, not the best paint pen for the background. Probably would look better if I blocked out the background and made the background more flat. But genuinely, I couldn't be bothered going back and doing that. Just happy with it. You can see in the centre here, like I used a different paint pen that was finer and it was much more opaque as opposed to back here where I used a chunkier one that was a little bit more sheer. But yeah, those are the 3 that I did in Joanna Basford. Yeah, making progress through the pile, beeps. Fairy tales and folklore. I had an old whip in here and I finally finished it off. This was a whip that I started in Mermaid. And I decided to finish off the page. So yeah, I had based everything with, I think, Albert Durer's, maybe Neo Colors, and then this background I think was Albert Durer's, and then some iridescent watercolor on the top. I really liked that sort of background look on it, so I decided to keep that as is, and then just finish off coloring in front here. So I pulled out some pencils to do a little bit of shading, try and smooth out the skin a little bit, and then super golden markers, of course, and glitter. Our little snake friends. Yeah, so pretty simple, but I like it. I think it's, I know, something about it that I really like. So yeah, very neat book. I don't show it enough love. I am technically in a group that does do monthly or bi-monthly prompts for this book, and I haven't really kept up with it because I just don't come back to it all the time, but I do recommend it. It is a excellent book. I just think the style is not my favorite thing in the watercolor, but I do enjoy it when I'm in the mood to color it. So, and the paper and the quality of this book is fantastic. Cannot go past the quality of this book. So it's Fairy Tale and Folklores by Emily Leidenhog Oggood. I probably butchered that, but that's okay. Right, I have Camellia de Erico. So I have Mermaids and Other Sea Creatures and Catitude. So in the Mermaids and Other Sea Creatures, I did this little friend here. I really enjoy Camellia's work. I feel like it's a really good excuse to get messy and play with different things and try out different things. Yeah, there's something about the sketchiness of her work that just makes it really fun. So for this one, I was playing around with the Distress watercolor pencils and seeing how they worked. And then I also was playing around with my new shimmery watercolor paints. There's a little bit of shimmer on her face, a little bit of gel pen and highlights, and pretty simple. Could have pushed the shading a bit more, but I was also just playing around with a new medium and seeing how it worked. Yeah, you can't go wrong with yellow, blue, and green either. It's a good combo, and the red of the hair just makes it pop. So I like it. I really like the squid head as well. I think it's funny. So that is the page from Pop Manga, Mermaids and Other Sea Creatures. And then I have Catitude. And I have this little chunky boy here with his little kitty cat toy. So cute. So again, this is the Gansai Tumbi watercolor for the background, which I believe bled through. No, not too bad. And then I used water-based markers as watercolor to color this all in, playing around with that sketchy watercolory effect of it. I really love how they turned out. I used a little bit of a white paint pen just to go around to help pop out this cat and to add the highlights back in as well. But yeah, really simple watercolor, Gansai Tumbi watercolor background, and then watercolor markers as watercolor. The coloring in this, and yeah, I know, I really like it. I had a lot of fun doing this month, as you've seen, like a lot of fun playing around with watercolors. So it's Pop Manga Catitude. I'm trying to keep similar illustrators together. I think I'm missing a book. I'm gonna have to check that before we close off. Okay. All right. So, Year of Witches is another whip that I finished off this month. This should have been with the other small books, but it was buried in a pile and I didn't see it. So this one uses water-based markers, Pablo and polychromos pencils, gel pens, lots of various bits and pieces to all come together. I really like how this came together. I don't know if I coloured what that is correctly. To me, it looked like a ramen pot with the lid up. Like they've got freshly cooked ramen, but then that could also be like steam rising. Yeah. It's called Cozy Night In, but so to me it kind of looked like a ramen pot. So I just imagine it as ramen. I don't know what it is, but I like it. So that's the main thing. Yeah, I think that page turned out really cute. It was really fun to colour. Very detailed, but really fun to colour. So that is Year of Witches by Yusuku. A very, very cute book. A bunch of us worked in the Epic World of Tolkien colouring book as a buddy. Oh gosh. Who was everyone that was in this group? I should pull it up on Instagram. That would be logical. I know there's Candace of Happy Catastrophe. I believe Cindy. Where's my Tolkien group? Oh, when things get buried. Because there's just so many. There you go. Tolkien Watercolor. Right. So, we have people. Yes. Cindy, Mindful Grip. Candace of Happy Catastrophe. We have Mindy from Colouring with Cats Amongst Orchids. And we have Paula from Colouring Mum. And I'll make sure I link them all down below. And I will also post in here anyone who has completed their version of the page. I think most of us did it. Yeah, there's Mindy. There's me. There's Paula. There's Cindy. I don't know if Happy Catastrophe finished hers. I don't know if Candace actually managed to complete it. But yeah, they'll be up on screen and you'll be seeing them. Yeah. So yeah, we did a big double page spread. We did the Nazgul birds, winged beasts. And yeah, so I used the Ganzai Tambi watercolor in the background. You can barely see it. It did not work at all on this paper, and just caused more problems for me in the future, because this paper also ended up lifting quite a bit. But then I also went pretty heavy in here because I used water-based markers and just shaded with the markers directly on the page. Again, this book has such sketchy styles that it just kind of feels alright to use. Like, I felt alright just coming in with the water-based markers and just using them directly on the page, just colouring with them. But because I had that base of the Ganzai Tambi, it did kind of make the paper thinner, so my markers bled for a lot more than they normally would, but I will make it work. Like, I'll figure it out. And then, yeah, there's a little bit of paint pen for a couple of highlights and bits and pieces, but pretty straightforward, just water-based markers. Yeah. I like it, though. I had a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun colouring this book, actually. It's surprisingly cool to colour in this book, and there's just so much of this book to colour as well. So yeah, I have done, I think, now 4 pages in here, but yeah, there's a lot to colour in this one. This is a chunky book. So yeah, thank you again to the wonderful Tolkien Buddy group for coming together to work on that page. Alright. I'm going to have some water, and I'm also going to double check if I'm missing a book. Okay, we're good. It was things that I'd done last month that I got confused and thought I had done this month. Okay, the next one I have is the Flower Fairies colouring book. So it says here Frederick Warren. It's not. It is Cecily Mary Barker. Like, it's her original illustrations. This person just holds the right to her work because, of course, her work is very old. So yeah, but it is a really, really neat colouring book. And I did this one here, which is called The Inquisitive Iris Fairy. And so this one uses Ganzai Tambi in the background. You can see here where, like, I was pushing the colour around and the edge of the metal scraped on the page. So I learnt, be careful you're not doing it. But yeah, Ganzai Tambi in the background, and then Prismacolor to colour in the flowers. I think a little bit of Pablo too, but primarily Prismacolor. Plus, of course, a little bit of Mod Podge extra and glitter for the wings. So super, super simple, but I had a lot of fun colouring this one. And this one, like, this background, this is what I was hoping for all my backgrounds to be like. This gradation between the two colours and the way it blends, and just, yeah. So that's the sort of background I was hoping to achieve all the time. But it really works here. And yes, that's set 1. So that's a Flower Fairies colouring book. We're getting there. We're like really on the home stretch now. I hope this recording isn't being too long. I've been really trying not to not to ramble too much. And my throat is also getting really sore. This is The Magical Journey by Lizzie Mary Cullen. Now, I did get this book because there is a Kiwi section. There is a New Zealand section, and I was going to start with the New Zealand section. But I was flipping through this book because I got the sudden desire that I wanted to colour a Lizzie Mary Cullen page. And then I saw this spread, and I was like, you know what? I vibe with this. I want to colour this. I had so much fun. So this whole spread has been done with ink tints for all these areas here, and then including the background, and then super golden markers to do like the little stars and stuff like that. Also for the bird, because I wanted the bird to be really metallic, and then I also used some Stickles glitter gel that has little stars and sparkles in it, and just sort of finger dab that everywhere, as well as Posca paint pens, just put in some white matte dots as well. I love how this one turned out. It is so bright and so colourful and just so happy. Yeah. And it was really fun to, again, pull out ink tints, but also do a Lizzie Mary Cullen page. I enjoy them every time I do them. So, yeah, that was really fun to do. So it was also my first page in this book, and it was a double. That is from The Magical Journey by Lizzie Mary Cullen. Alright. Another artist that I pulled out a bunch of books for and worked in was Paula Brune. These were gifts that arrived in this month, and I really enjoyed working in them, which surprising. So I have this page here. Now, I thought this was one double page spread, which is why I did all of this at once. But then when I came to look at it, I was like, oh, wait, that stops there. That moves over there. But the index, they are the same flora. So it's like, okay, still kind of works. But yeah, they aren't necessarily the same page. But I kind of just tackled it as a double. So again, Gansai Tambi in the background with iridescent watercolor, and here again I'm mixing the two sets and just producing different colorways, which I think worked really well here. And then polychromos pencils to shade in the flowers and plants. And considering how much I always say I don't enjoy coloring flowers and plants, I actually really enjoyed this book. It looks quite detailed and overwhelming at first, but I realized if you just knock it out element by element, which is usually the case with most things that look detailed, like I just started with a certain style of leaf, like these bulbous ones here were real easy, so I started with those, and then like, you know, the branch can be done, and then all the little red berries, and then oh, these flowers here, and like if you just do it element by element, it comes together pretty easily. So, yeah, and I made sure to save the owl for last because the owl was the cutest part to me. So that is from Fawn Fragile by Paula Brune. Then we have Amazon. We'll do this one first because this one's pretty straightforward. This is the first one that I did. And it's just the introduction page. So really, really simple page. But this was a really great way for me to test the quality of the paper, which was absolutely fantastic. Nothing bled through. And then, so yeah, this is Gansai Tambi with a little bit of iridescent watercolor splattered around as well. And then, of course, a little bit of polychromos pencils to just color in the leaf here. So yeah, really, really straightforward, but I think it's actually a really effective introduction page. And as I said, it was a great way to test the paper. So that was the first one that I did in these books, just to ensure it was all good. That was the page in Amazon. And then we have Animals de Bulls. And again, I did another double page spread. But this one I knew it wasn't a double, so I did them at the same time, but I wasn't treating it as a double. I just wanted them coordinating. So again, Gansai Tambi for the background. It is the same colours, just used in different quantities. And polychromos pencils for shading. I really love this one. I think this spread is my favourite. There's something about the way it came together in this background. with the iridescent watercolor and Gansai Tambi there, and then just all the browns. I think it came together really, really well. So yeah, I like this whole spread. I'm pretty pleased with that. And again, I'm really shocked at how much I enjoyed these, considering they are a lot of nature and plants, which is usually not my favorite paint to color, but Paula Brune's interpretations of it, I don't know, they just sort of clicked with me. So yeah, that was my free Paula Brune books and the free double page spreads that I did in these books. All right. Mythographic. I did 2 Mythographics. So the first one I have done is in Romantasy, which is by Watercoly. And we have this page here with the deer in the water. Again, this is water-based markers used as watercolor. And then a little bit, it's all over the page, Mod Podge Extreme Glitter, just to add a little bit of sparkle to the water and the water reflex. And yeah, I was trying to play around a little bit with like letting the colours bleed together. So like the red of the bricks is coming in here and, you know, letting things bleed around. And there is also a little bit of white paint pen for some like little highlight spots on the water. And just playing with a really limited colour palette as well. So that yellowy, brown, red, green. So very interesting to do the green for the water. But I think it works really well. It's very soft and light. But I like all the effectiveness of it. Probably could have shaded it a bit more. But I'm actually really pleased with it. I like it. So that is my page in Romantasy by Watercoly. And then I also have Animals by Joseph Critterville, which is a very old mythographic. I believe it was his first ever one. Lots of like detailed chaos here. So this one I treated as an absolute experiment. And hopefully you can see it. So I was gifted some delightful shimmer sprays this month. And what did I use in the background? I used Neocolor 2s in the background. So I started off with the background and I knew I wanted to do a bit of a rainbow. So what I decided to do was just color over everything and just create sort of like a rainbow color field. So I did that in Neocolor 2 and then I got the shimmer sprays and I was like, you know what, let's try it. So I just started spritzing them everywhere and letting the colors sort of build up in certain areas. And then this was around the time I was also working with the paint pens and doing all that blending with the paint pens. And I was like, you know what would be cool? To pull out some of the details with paint pens, but not pull out everything. So that is why only certain elements are coloured, not everything. And I think that's actually really cool and quite effective. And then came back in with some more shimmer spray on top. And this one I did actually frame up because like this one needs a frame. It was so messy. But yeah, it was just an absolute experiment. But I love how this one turned out. I mean, it's incredibly glittery. So, of course, I freaking love it. But also, I know, I think it's really neat. Like, it's a different interpretation, but I think it really works. So, yeah. Really fun page. Absolutely messy. Absolutely got stuff everywhere. But love how it turned out. And it was a really fun experiment. It was Mythographic Animals by Joseph Critterville. And we have 2 more. 2 more. 2 more books. Not 2 more pages, but 2 more books. Right, second to last book. Kingdom of Curious Creatures by Kanoko Agusa. And I finished off a whip. This was from Mermaid. This was another one that was left over from Mermaid. And I finished it off. So, for the background, I believe it's just regular watercolor with iridescent watercolor in the background. I don't think it's granulating watercolors. I believe I just use regular watercolors. Put a layer over everything with lots of little areas of iridescent watercolor. And then I'd started coloring with the Castle Arts Harmonious pencil set. So I'd done like a bit. I'd done this big green and this and the cat and a couple of the plants here, and that was about it. So I still had everything else to go. So I just sat down, pulled out the Castle Art pencils and just finished colouring everything on the page, which took quite a while, but I'm glad I pushed through. I really am glad that I stuck to the Castle Art set of pencils. It got very difficult towards the end because I kept wanting to have just a few more colors, but I made it work, and I'm glad I did stick with it because it actually looks really neat just being that set. And then of course a little bit of super golden markers, so I use that to do some details on like some of the jellyfish and like this little bottle and the necklace and the flowers and stuff like that. And then I use the Stickles glitter gel and sort of dab that on with my finger in various places. It's got a little bit more chunky glitter than regular Stickles. So I just kind of dab that over the page to create a little bit of sparkle. So yeah, big double page spread done finally. I was so glad to get that whip done, and I love how Kitty Merms turned out. I still think they look really, really cool. Yeah, definitely a labor of love to finish that page, but I really like it. Made me very happy. I love colouring jellyfish and underwater, and yeah, that page is now done. So that was another whip knocked off my list, a big double in the Kingdom of Curious Creatures. And then the last book I have to show you is the beautiful Naoko Neko Story of Precious Cats. I didn't mark all my pages. I told you there was probably several cases where I hadn't used enough bookmarks. But yes, Naoko Neko. So if you're not aware, Story of Precious Cats is one of my favourite books in my colouring book collection. I can see every single page in this book being coloured. And as such, I run an Instagram group where we choose a page for every 2 months to colour in. Now, I've been a little behind with choosing pages, but also colouring certain pages. So thanks again to the group. They chose the page for the last 2 months. But I wanted to play catch up before I did that. So the first page that I got done in here was my whip, which is this wonderful treehouse page that was chosen, and I'm just glad it's done, which I like how it turned out. Don't get me wrong. I think it turned out lovely. It's very harmonious. I like them playing in the forest. It uses their colours. Like, I think it turned out lovely. It's a lovely page. I'm just glad it's done. It's not the most inspiring page to me. Again, it's still a gorgeous page. I have pages I like less in this book, and I still love every page in this book. It's just, for me, this is more exciting than this. I don't like the kitties being far away. Like, this one is like, oh cool, they're playing in a treehouse. That's cute, but it's not the excitement of, they're going to be pirates. You know, it's not the excitement of what we're doing this month, for the next 2 months, which is the big Halloween double page spread. I freaking love this spread. Like, these ones make me really excited. But I wouldn't have tackled this page without the group. I would have put it off till the end and been like, oh, okay, I guess I'll do that one now. Like, it's still a great page. I like how it turned out. It's just, it wasn't something I was extremely excited to get to. So I'm just glad it's done. It's the reason why it sat there for a whip for a very, very long time. So I've still got to catch up on this one. So I'm hoping that I might get that one done this month and then do the Halloween double next month. We'll see how we go. But that's one that was also chosen by the group that I haven't gotten to yet. And then the other one that I got to is this gorgeous one here. So this was the current month page. So I actually did finish this one off. Started and finished this one off in the month, which was amazing. But I am so pleased with this one. Now, when I finally did get to start this page, it was a little bit on in the month, and a few people had posted their completed pages, and a lot of them were doing really soft pastel colors, and I was like, oh, that's so pretty with all the like pastel tones and the flowers, and it really inspired me. And I just say in the group, I usually color so bright, so colorfully. Like, I love doing rainbow bright neon, so to do very muted colors is very difficult for me. And everyone's like, you should challenge yourself to do it. I was like, I should challenge myself to do it, and so I did. So I have an established color palette for the kitties, which is to use Inktense pencils. So I kept that for the kitties themselves and pulled out the Inktense and based the kitties in Inktense. But then for the rest of this page, I actually use the Distress watercolor pencils to shade the flowers and their clothes. The green underneath was done with the same green ink tints I used for Heek's eyes as well. So that was ink tints. But the rest of like the leaves and stuff was all done with them. And that's because they're less intense than ink tints pencils. So I was like, well, that will inherently make it more pastel. And then when I did pull out my pencils to shade and develop the shading on these clothes and stuff like that, I was trying to keep in mind to not go too ham with the shading, to let the colors stay pastel and light. And so it was a real challenge for me, but I really do feel like I've pulled it off. I love how soft and delicate the page looks. But then the intensity, obviously, of the cats and their big shiny eyes, I freaking love. I did pull out Super Golden, and I put that in the center of all the flowers because it's like, that seems like really nice place to use it, plus little details on all of their clothes. And then, of course, the butterfly. So the butterfly, I did do an ink tense because I wanted that to be intense. And then I pulled out stickles to put on the butterfly itself to make it glittery. But yeah, I am really pleased with how that one turned out too. I think that one will be one of my favorites of the month. That being said, there's a lot of pages that I did this month, and I like all of them. Like, even the ones that were done quickly and, you know, just slapped together because I just needed to color. Like, that was the beauty of this month of coloring. Some days I did do more detail orientated coloring. Some days I just slapped together pages. All of it is valid coloring. It's what I needed to do at the start of the month. And then as we got towards the end of the month, it was like I played some video games. I calmed down with how much I was coloring per day. I haven't colored for the last 3 days because that's kind of how things go. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this ridiculous journey through, I don't know how many books. I didn't count how many books I worked in. But yeah, hope you enjoyed seeing all 101 pages that I did in the month of August. Holy moly. I now have a pile of books to put away. I have to try and find room for all these books and figure out what I'm coloring for September. So I would love to hear from you, any sort of favorite pages that you had, any pages that stood out, what you've been coloring, what you plan to color. Let me know. If you have Gunzo Tumby set 2 granulating watercolors and can figure out how to make them granulate better than I did. Yeah, I would love to hear from you. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for watching this ridiculously long video. All the araha to you all. May you all catch my ridiculous coloring energy from this month, and take care. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!